So, it's been a little while since so Jack, our CEO, along with four other gentlemen, sat around one day and we're talking about it. And they basically, kind of in an instant, came up with the idea of being able to communicate with 140 characters, your thoughts and processes and communicate. And that little fledgling idea really mushroomed into what is Twitter today. And it is definitely significantly greater communication than I think they might have envisioned. And they talk about how they looked in the dictionary and that's how they ended up with the bird and tweets and the words that we use today. But it is interesting because they created an iconic group of words that never before had meant those things. And now you can't say tweet and not have somebody not understand that you're talking about Twitter. So it was interesting. They had just 5 guys. They were actually working on other software, and it wasn't necessarily going great. And we call them Hack Week projects. That's a developer term because, again, I didn't know this. We don't have Hack Week when we build buildings. We don't get to just decide we want to build something off the cuff for a week. Well, that's what we do in software. Guys will have some crazy idea, and we set aside all the work that we are doing, and they give them the ability to be entrepreneurs for a week. And they can create different ideas, and they get together with different groups, and then at the end of the week, they present them to the company, and a lot of times those things come back and actually become part of the platform. Well, that's sort of how Twitter began to begin with. It was a Hack Week project when the company was very young in 2008.
Okay, well, I understand that Twitter is something that is global. It's a network, it's a web. So I kind of want to know, how did you make that possible? To say I can tweet someone who is in Zimbabwe, at least I'm here. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's called the network. The network is the key. It's a very complicated system, very interconnected. That's a great profession if you're interested in it. The whole fiber and that industry. We're all connected with wires, with fiber underneath the ocean, and we have what's called POPs, which is called point of presence. And so those are networks that we set up all over the world in different places for different reasons, and that's so that we can actually cache and tweet. You can get the local information quicker. So, but it's all a traffic system and backup systems on backup systems. And so it's kind of an amazing feat all the way around with engineering. And the key is network engineering, is that you can go more than one path to get something accomplished. And if we run into a problem, we can always reroute traffic. It's called rerouting, and we have a whole team of people that's on staff 24/7 that kind of handles that. Incidents, issues, depending upon which team you're on, some are on call 24/7.
Okay, and I want to ask, so how do you take your staff, and what qualifications should they have?
I'm sorry, repeat your question one more time.
How do you employ the people who work here, and what qualifications should a person have? Let's say I want to work here, what do you require from me?
Perfect. So it depends on what you're interested in and depends on what we have a need for. But let's just start with the basic and talk about software engineers. Software engineers are the majority of our company because that's what we do. We write code for our platform. But we also have human resources department. We also have a marketing department. We have a graphics department. All of those symbols and characters and Twitter birds and all of that sort of stuff is involved in our design and what the page looks like and how to actually lay that page out. So those are graphic artists. My team is a variety of people, from finance analysts to physicists to architects and engineers, and so there are people who go, oh, well, if you're an architect, then you probably want to work for the workforce team that designs our office space. Well, I could do that for a living if I wanted to, but that's not what I do for a living. I actually build and manage our data center. So that happens to be my niche, like similar to doctors, right? You know, every doctor has a niche, whether it's general or specific. We are the same. So what you really want to do is you want to go to your job every day loving what you do. When I wake up in the morning and I drive, I don't know how many kilometers it is, but I drive 69 miles, an hour and a half to work every day from where I live, and I love this job. I would not give up this job for anything. I love who I work for. That is the key. Find what you're passionate about. I wanted to be an architect since I was 7. I am passionate about it, right? And I get to wake up every day and do this for a living. So you want to first find out what you want to do, what you're good at, what you think you can offer the world, and then you go find the company that makes you happy. You go find the company where you get up every day and you absolutely love to go to work. We spend a lot of time here, and you want to make sure that it is everything you want it to be. And you may have to find that, you can take a few times, but don't be afraid to leave either. If I can offer that advice, a lot of times people get into a company and then they're afraid to leave. Like, oh, you know, I don't know, it's going to be different, it's going to be, well, so what? Take that step. If you're not happy especially, you've got to move on. Because you're not going to be your best self if you're not happy where you are. And you can do it all. You can be parents, you can live great lives, you can have work-life balance, you can work hard, you can also be home with your kids. I have, as I told you, my husband's a stay-at-home dad. He's also a chef. I cook. I do not cook. I have no idea how to cook. He does all of that. He does all the laundry. He does everything. So you can be that too if that's what you want. If your wife is that much better and doing her work thing and you're great with kids, stay home. It's all right. It's what we need. We need everybody to work together to be our best selves. I am my best self because my husband stays home with our kids. So you never know. It's just whatever you really are passionate and interested about.
Why did you sort of Bluefin project that you absorbed due to the Twitter company?
Why did we buy?
Why did we buy Bluefin?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of what Bluefin did was they made use of Twitter's data. Like, Bluefin was a subscriber of many of Twitter's APIs and something called the Decahose, which, if you imagine Twitter as like this giant fire hose of tweets, Bluefin was consuming 1/10 of it and doing all this processing on it. Like, one thing Bluefin did was they would map tweets to specific shows in order to target users that had tweeted about a show and been exposed to a certain advertisement to say, hey, brand X, you just launched an ad campaign on this show and we have the entire community of people that watch that show and are tweeting about it. You'll have 30% higher rate of engagement if you serve your ad to these people rather than any random Twitter user. So for Bluefin, this was a good way to make money off of all of these different brands. For Twitter, looking at Bluefin, it was a way to say, oh, we could have partnerships with these brands and actually involve them in targeting our users. And like one of the biggest ways, the biggest way we make money is Twitter, since it's free software, is advertising. So if we can find ways to have brands pay us to target users more effectively, then those brands can make more money. We can make more money, but ultimately this is all advertising money. Like, big data means ad targeting if it's free. So in this sense, Bluefin helped Twitter extend its big data platform, and that was one of the main reasons it was acquired.